Hey everyone, I just want to take a second today and talk about something that's been bothering me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. I was working on my Trollger video, and I thought, who am I exactly making this for, just because of what's been going on in Team Fortress 2. So, as it stands in the current state in June of 2020, TF2 has been facing its worst bot case, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. They're the bots that have been spamming text chat and voice chat with racist and ear-piercingly loud sounds. Not only that they're unequipping cosmetics, they're cheating, and they're just massive waves. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to the core as a person who's been playing this game for over 9 years now. With all the amount of time racked up, I don't think there's ever been a case where it's been so bad. And it would be a great time for Valve to show some transparency, as well as reaffirm the community what's going on their end. They've been pushing out updates that I like to call just a poor band-aid solution, and it affects players who I really didn't think were out there, but you know, there really are still new players in 2020. And I'm sure you've been hearing the same song and dance from all the larger TF2 content creators, but I just wanted to reaffirm, you know, we are a strong community, and we really want to make sure that this game flourishes, and it's sad when we see something like this happen. I just want to take this time to talk about how I got into TF2, and how this whole change kind of affects the same way as a new player would get into the game, as well as some advice for Valve on how they can resolve this issue. So starting with back in 2011, like I mentioned, I just came into the game just before the Uber update. A friend of mine had recommended picking up TF2 plus Gary's mod, and was a bundle at the time. And I had seen a lot of the YouTube videos that people had made with Gmod, all the idiot box and all the other stuff. So that was one of the combos that really got me into PC gaming at the time, after transitioning from playing countless hours of Halo custom games with friends. And I think that same energy of communication and just general enjoyment was what kind of got me switched over to the PC side of it. Both Gary's mod and TF2 at the time had that no consequences gameplay where everyone just wanted to have fun and enjoy the game for what it is. And you jump ahead today and you see all the competitive changes that Valve has made to TF2. May it be the Meet Your Match update, the quick play changes, the weapon balancing for a more competitive aspect, and just general attitude of all the players in the game. And it's shocking. But it's not to say that competitiveness is a bad thing. I myself have played in a lot of the community competitive leagues like UGC and ESCA at one point, and I enjoy it as well. There is a side of TF2 that has that competitive aspect, but a majority of players do not want that competitive aspect all the time. And that's reflective in the disappointment of some of the weapon balancing and the server structure that's going on right now. It's to the point now where the community has come together to try to make the same structure work that was previously with the servers, and allowing players to join whatever team, have auto scrambling, and that same casual form factor that Valve had removed with the Meet Your Match update. Servers like creators.tf and the rebalancing mod definitely show that there's a lot of passion still to have that fun aspect back into the game and make it a little less competitive. Because the way that Valve handles it now is that you get into a casual game, the game doesn't last too long on that particular map, either by you joining late or it's a complete stomp. The server changes level to something that a lot of people don't want, and the server empties, leaving you to find another server and repeat the same cycle. This may seem a little over-exaggerated, but with the current state of bots, it makes this whole situation feel amplified. All the remaining slots in a server you're waiting for actual players are filled up by these bots. Then you have teammates who are fed up with the bots and leave the server, rather than addressing it in a whack-a-mole situation where you try to frantically get rid of them, leaving the game pretty much barren in some matches. And then you yourself get fed up, decide to leave, and re-queue. Now this is the problem that Valve isn't addressing, and that these band-aid fixes aren't working. So we as a community have to come together and face these issues with the tools that we have. And unfortunately, even those tools are flawed, as the vote kick system only allows up to 20-minute ban, meaning that the bots can continue floating around the Valve matchmaking system, and within that 20 minutes just end up on the same server again. So what can we do? Well, there's a few things that we can do right now, and there's a few things that I wish Valve can do. Firstly, now, just kick the bots when you see them. Take your time, don't overstress the enemy team. Both teams are frantically trying to vote kick at the same time, and unfortunately, it can only handle one kick at a time, so please take that in consideration while you're spamming the other team to get it to work. Secondly, I highly suggest Valve implements some sort of CAPTCHA system that might be a little annoying for regular players, but the positives heavily outweigh the negatives in this case. So what I propose is just a generic 3-number entry before matchmaking, either in a party or in solo. That way any sort of bot cannot just automatically re-queue without having to identify these particular numbers. And from what I understand that the bots are currently created with, this would seem relatively impossible for them to crack unless they have some sort of visual interpretation software, then they would be able to get around it. But if they were given such a small short period of time to enter in that code, I think it'd be a solution. But if Valve wants to implement another band-aid fix in this case, I highly recommend they increase the limit of this timer from 20 minutes to something like 24 hours. As a regular TF2 player may not get banned from maybe 1 or 2 servers within a day, as these bots continue to cycle through the whole matchmaking system. Easily enough, this is just an update that Valve can make to their server configuration files without even pushing a TF2 update. And personally, I wish that this was the first thing that they did before muting the chat and such. I understand all the racist spam and everything, but this again limits a lot of players, where this particular fix could have just resolved a lot of the in-game headache. And a lot of people in the community, as well as myself, feel that these Valve updates have been only addressing PR issues with popular game journalism, just to make sure that they're attempting to fix a problem that shouldn't even be there in the first place. So I'm going to take a second and reflect. If I were a new player like I was back in 2011, just starting to play TF2 today, I don't think I would sink over 6,000 hours in the game. I don't think I would even sink more than an hour. And sure, the argument is made that TF2 wasn't perfect back then. It had some occasional cheaters, and there wasn't really an introduction system to the game other than the broken tutorials that exist now. But the core matchmaking system wasn't broken, and that's the thing to highlight here. TF2 servers need that balance of good and new players in order to make it enjoyable. There are a lot of moments that I cherish from TF2 that are based around new players and just having general fun. And sadly, that's what's being threatened here with these bots. So I wanted to really make this video to highlight that, and that there are people out there and there are options there to still get that enjoyment, as well as things that Valve can do to help bring that enjoyment back. I want to share something that happened just a day before the Valve update where they muted the free-to-play players. It was something so small but wholesome that reminded me of TF2 during a time where it wasn't in this state.
Oh, that was a spy.
I'm not doubting Adam endorsed.
Us dancing. Besides, technically it's a win-win for us and a lose-lose for them. Since we're dancing, we can just get on the point and cap. And if they kill us, then they're gonna be called tryhards and probably get kicked from the server.
Lastly, as a newer TF2 content creator / streamer, I try to keep my community entertained with certain events that I do to distract people from the bots and the servers. But I feel like this distraction can't go on forever, and that Valve really needs to fix this issue. So please be patient, enter your support tickets, make your voice heard. As a community, we should be strong and continue to enjoy a game that we've been playing for ages. And hopefully this issue will be resolved soon. Anyways, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys taking the time, and I hope to bring good news soon.